Okay, that'll help then, won't it? New software. I was just explaining if we're looking a little bit different today. It's because we're having the set built behind for the next Half Yard Club project, the main project, which will be a Roman blind, different to the one that I've done on YouTube. But that's what's been going on back there. So that's why I wasn't here on Wednesday, because we're in a little bit of chaos down here while Gary was building windows for me. So hopefully by Wednesday, video will be done, this will be done, and we'll be back to looking normal again. Anyway, here we've got Lena, Elsie, Carol, hello. And doing quite well today. Oh, good. Finishing some projects for a birthday celebration next week. Oh, how lovely. Placemats and cozies. Lovely. Amanda, Kaz, hello. Hello, Jane. And Chrissy, Yvonne. So what do we like? Sorry for missing anybody. I'm getting YouTube and Facebook coming up at the same time. So there's lots of comments coming through all at the same time. So we've got Raina, Cheryl, Sue, and Alison, Lena, and Jill, Tracy, Stitchy Witch, morning, Vivian, Anne. Just scroll down to the bottom. Morning, Liz, morning, Karen. And oh, thank you very much, Maria. And Trudy. Didn't make it, no. Who is it? Oh, Deirdre saw us on Sewing Street. Oh, I hope you enjoyed it. Bought the kit. Yeah, I was there guesting on Thursday and presented yesterday, so I've had a nice couple of days, although I'm a bit jet lagged at the moment. Hi Leanna. Oh, hi Chris, how are you? And Christine, morning to you. And Jennifer, lovely. Yeah, it was a really nice couple of days. Love going over to Sewing Street. It's a pity it's so far to travel. Didn't have a pleasant journey yesterday morning. You know they've closed Melton Mowbray. Well, you might not know, but they have. It's a nightmare. And my sat nav took me on a diversion northwards. So I've not been that way to get around it before. Normally go through Leicester, but okay, we'll go up north. So this is like 4 o'clock in the morning, and the road that it was taking me down as a diversion was closed. And then the road I tried to get down was closed. So I had to come all the way back and go around Leicester. Lovely at that time in the morning. Hello, Lynn. Going to catch up with Sewing Street later on this afternoon. Elisa's 70th today. Happy birthday to you. Thanks for joining us on your birthday. Joanna Tilly, hello. Rosemary, just getting from heavy rain. It's not heavy rain here yet. We're expecting thunderstorms later on, aren't we? I'm just hoping the grass will turn green again, because our lawn is a lovely shade of yellow and it's very crispy. Yours is probably the same if you have one. But the ducks are loving it and the chickens don't care. And Bobbing went out for a wee before it rained this morning. So we're all okay. All okay. Hello, who's that? Gifts HQ in Miami. What's your weather like in Miami? Tracy's working on waiting for Christmas Carol. Those are going out from Sewing Street, so shouldn't be too long. They're normally quite quick, I think. Right, I've got some new stuff to show you, and then I thought we'd do a little bit of foundation piecing. So this is the Christmas gift bag panel that you saw on Sewing Street. That they have exclusivity for a week, so we haven't got a stock at the moment, but we put it on pre-order because everything on Sewing Street sold out. So as soon as we can get more stock in, then you'll get it. So if you haven't seen our foundation piecing panels before, you create something that looks like foundation paper piecing. That means that you can get really accurate and crisp lines to your patchwork, but it's really, really easy to do. But this doesn't involve paper. There are 4 bags in the set. So we've got the snowman, the star. I'm going to demonstrate the gnome, and there's a Christmas tree. So you get all 4 pieces on the panels, and the instructions to make a gift bag. But of course you could use these, join them all together and make something like a table runner or placemats or something like that. So we'll have a look at that in just a second. They are on pre-order. They should be with us by Thursday. So if you've missed out from Sewing Street, they may be back on Sewing Street at some point, but not at the moment. They haven't asked. So we're going to be the only place that you can get them. These are exclusive to us. Right, so that's that. Another thing that you may have seen on Sewing Street is the bunting template. I'm not going to take these apart. This is how they're going to come to you. We don't do fancy packaging with these. It'll cost money and we don't want to pass that on to you. But you've got 3 triangles, 6-inch, 8-inch and 10-inch in size. Let me just measure actually where those measurements are. Yeah, it's the length. It's the length from the top down to the point. So this is what they had on Sewing Street. They're £18.50, I think, and this is what we have on the website. However, we have them with a larger size there. Now we've got a limited amount of these available. So this will take you up to a 12-inch size. So there's 4 templates, and we've done a special offer on them because we don't have very many at the same price as this one. So may as well go for the bigger one. We're not getting any more of those once those have gone. So if you want them, go and order now. I designed them, well, I thought in mind we'd have a bunting shape, but if you join 8 of those together, they will make an octagon. So you can make, use the biggest ones to make a cushion cover word. They're really, really useful. The big one won't fit in the template. I don't think that one won't fit in your template holder. We need to make a bigger template holder, don't we? Might have to work on that one. Those certainly won't fit in your template holder. But that's just something, that's just a special offer, just a bit of a one-off, especially for you. Let's pop that down there. So I'll show you some new fabrics and then we'll go on to those. Samantha loves the gonk, lovely. Paracetamol, rest, and a lot of bad words. Oh, is that somebody not very well? Sorry, I missed that one. Okay. We have some new Laura Ashleys. So, Anne-Marie, if you're watching, we couldn't get hold of that one that you wanted, the Pussy Willow, at the moment. So I know you're coming over to the workshop on Sunday, but we won't have that one. I do have a couple of really pretty ones, though. Now, they're Laura Ashley prints, and they're a canvas. They're quite lightweight, but these are perfect for Roman blinds, for cushion covers, for homewares like that, tablecloths, anything like that. Really beautiful, classy, very traditional, very much Laura Ashley, aren't they? Very recognizable as Laura Ashley. Oh, Pamela, I'm sorry about that. That's awful. Oh, thinking of you. So yeah, very classic designs. We've got 2 new ones for you. This is the second one, which is, I don't know what this one's called, actually. Let's have a quick look. It looks like bamboo leaves, but I don't know what, because obviously we take the name that Laura Ashley have. Just bear with me a sec while we have a look on the website. In fact, we can have a look on the website over here. Let's do this. So all of the new fabrics that I'm going to show you are under new arrivals here. There we go, willow leaf hedgerow. They're £5.50 for half a metre, which is amazing for Laura Ashley. And that one is the hydrangea chamomile. So those are the 2 new ones that we've got for you there. Again, at just £5.50, which I think is such good value for money. For Laura Ashley and for canvas. So yeah, for homewares, those are absolutely perfect. Right, so that's those. Oh, bag making, of course, bag making. But I'm thinking Roman blinds, because that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon. Okay, got some panels for you as well. So a little bit of Christmas. This is an advent calendar panel, and these panels are really easy to sew because you don't have to cut out the pockets and stitch them on top. So they look really smart as well. So what you're going to do here, there should be instructions on. They normally put instructions on, don't they? But of course they haven't this time. So you're going to cut out your main panel, and where it says fold on each side, you're going to pinch that and fold it up like that. And then just sew across the bottom and sew down each side, and that creates your pockets, which I think is really clever. These are Susan Wheeler's. I love Susan Wheeler's designs. I think they're so sweet and very, again, typically recognisably her. Then you've got all of these extra little bits down the side that you could use for applique, and then there's the top bit. Whether you are going to bag this out or add extra binding around it, that's up to you. You could put a channel across the back with a rod going through it, a piece of doweling maybe, and hang it up that way. And I would use some interfacing with it, and my choice would be the fusible craft fleece, because it's not too thick, but it's going to be sturdy enough to keep it nice and flat when it's hanging on the wall. Doe Fat Finger, joining today from a motorhome in Hertford. How are you, Anne? I hope it's not too wet for you. Been lashing it down. And Cleo the Greyhound was most grumpy at having to go out in the rain. Oh dear. Morning, Christine. Pamela, hello to you. All right, so let's pop that away. So that's good timing actually to get these, if you've got a few to make, in the bag, so to speak, ready for Christmas time. Then we've got a bunting panel. Another Susan Wheeler design. I'm not sure how many pennants are on there. Let's have a look. Quite a lot, I would say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30. 30 pennants in total. Isn't that cute? So use your, I mean, you could use those double-sided and have 20 pennants. I would put a plain backing on them and make it go twice as far. And my choice would be to put some bias binding across the top to string them up, or you could use a piece of ribbon if you wanted to. Or you could cut them out with pinking shears and just not line them at all if you wanted a quicker job and you didn't want to do any sewing with them. Oh, Simone's missed lots of shows. Well, you're with us today, thankfully. The Craftleys, we have, yeah, we've got the 2 meter packs in stock. I'm not sure about by the meter, but definitely got the 2 meter packs in. Christmas stocking panels. Now we've got 2 of these. Are you ready, Claire? I'll show you that one in a minute. This one will make 2 stockings if you use all 4 pieces. So that's what you're going to get, 1 panel with 4 pieces on it. And if you use a different backing fabric, then you can get 4 stockings out of it. And the more Susan Wheelers. Pretty, aren't they? Again, they haven't got instructions on them, but I think they're quite self-explanatory. And I personally, again, would use my fleece or some H630 and line them as well, just to make them really posh. And maybe put a loop on the back to hang them up with as well. There you go. Junior says I made 2 of the advent panels last year. Very straightforward and look great when filled, especially with chocolates. So that's the beauty of making your own, isn't it? Because if you don't want the chocolates, put what you like in there. A damp day in Selby in North Yorkshire, says Susan. First ever retirement. Congratulations. What are you going to do? More sewing. Now this will make 1 huge stocking, or 2 if you use your own backing fabric. And it's huge, look. Look how big that is. Claire. There you go, there's your Dalmatian. Is that a little, oh no, they're acorns or berries in the ground. So sweet. So again, they're really big, and that's going to make 1 huge one, or 2 if you use your own backing fabric. Yeah, just a few more fabrics for you. Can you save that for Domino's stocking, please? Domino probably fit in there. She's massive. It's massive. No, maybe not. Maybe 1 for each paw. Thank you, Eva. I think they're beautiful as well. How tall is what? Maybe talking to somebody else. Sorry, Marie. What's happened with Olive? Sorry, I missed that one, Olive. Okay. Should we have a little look at Liberty? We've got the Liberty Christmas fabrics in. So these are the ones that we've chosen. Can't remember what they're all called, but it's all from the same range. Pop that the right way so you can see them. Very Liberty, particularly that one, I think, with the presents, but also very traditional colours. If you like your reds and your greens, your rich forest greens and crimson reds for Christmas, then this one I think will be perfect for you. Sandra BP is a bit damp. I think there's a lot of us damp today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the collection, and I think they're absolutely stunning. I'll just have a quick look what what they're called. We do them in fat quarters as well. If you wanted a fat quarter pack, you'll get all 5 of those. Liberty don't do fat quarters, so we've had those made for you. And this collection is called Festive Greetings. So we have Peaceful Poinsettias. This one is Emily Starr, Swirling Holly, Festive Gifts, and over on the next page is the Festive Village, which I think is my favourite one. I think it's my favourite one. Okay, so that's Liberty. Very exciting. I see these new ranges in, because we order these so far in advance, we forget what we've done. And then it turns up, oh, I forgot we'd ordered that. Well, I don't order anything, you know what it's like. Forgot Kim ordered that. Don't know what she's ordering most of the time, so it's a great surprise. Oh, Alana's getting a blue sky over her house. Oh, jolly good. I hope it lasts. Apparently it's going to be like this until about 7 o'clock tonight, Gary was telling me. The only thing is, I'm down here filming all day and it's noisy. So I'm hoping it doesn't rain too heavily, else I won't be able to do any recording. Oh, how tall is the last crystal? The big one, Maria. Have a look. Tall, I'd say. Pretty tall. Do I have a tape measure? You don't know if I have a tape measure or not. Use my ruler. That is 24, about 28 inches long. I think the sizes are on the description on the website, I think. All right. Weather for sewing, Sally, absolutely. Just 2 more fabrics to show you. These are lovely. These feel like lawn. Let me just have a double check what they are. Just move back that way. Vintage fabric. Oh, it's just cotton. Shari Vintage Floral. These are beautiful. They're really smooth. You know when you get a really lovely quality of fabric and it feels smooth, and that's because they've used a very fine thread, but there's lots of them, so it's a really high count of a really high thread count, really high denier, but it's very, very fine. That feels like a cotton lawn. It just feels so lightweight. That will be lovely for attire. I mean, put some strong interfacing on it, and certainly you can use this for heavier things like your cushion covers and bags and things like that. But if you wanted to make a blouse or a floaty skirt or something that's gathered, but you want it to hang really well, then that's going to be perfect for you. There are 2 colour options for you here. They're just blue and red. That's just what they're called, is blue and red. So that's what we've got for you today. That's all the newness that we have. So I hope you like them. Shall we get on and do a little bit of this FPPing? I've started from scratch. I haven't cut any bits of fabric out first of all, because I want you to see what you're going to do when you first get these home. So this is how the panel comes to you. And there's all 4 pieces all in a row. I mean, you can identify what they are quite easily. Let me show you. So that will be the Christmas tree. I know it's upside down. That is the snowman. There's the gnome. And then that one's the star. If you haven't done this before, I would suggest that you do the tree first, then the star, then the gnome, then the snowman. Because those are easy. The snowman's more time consuming, which is why I'm not doing it now, because there's just too many bits in. They'll be here for ages. I might not finish this today, but it'll give you an idea of how it works. Study these, because when you first look at, for instance, the gnome here, you need to identify which bit is which. And nice to see on here. So you can write on there on number 4 if your pen works. Well, you know what that's like. You can write nose. So that's the nose. This is the moustache. This is the hat, and that's part of the hat. So I'm looking at this bit here. Then there's his beard. That's part of the body. And then down here, I've got the backing. Just move that up a little bit so you can see. you've got the backing, and then this bit and that are all part of the body, and number 16 down here is the foot. So let's cut these pieces out first of all. This will help. Can't see that, can you? A bit bright on that one. Let me just get my tools out. When you're cutting these pieces out, cut around the outside line because that is your seam allowance. So, you know, take your time with it. This isn't meant to be a quick craft, but it is a very enjoyable one, I have to say. I'm quite hooked. I wasn't ever a fan really of foundation paper piecing, but this method just makes it so much easier. No paper, no ripping, no tearing, no working on a smaller stitch length and worrying about your stitches coming undone when you're tearing paper away, because your fabric is left in there. So that's that one. Let's just trim that back. And then let's cut those out as well. So I might not have time to actually go all the way through to finishing them, but I'll do the first and second row, so at least we can get his hat and his face on there. Let's cut those. And they're all numbered, so we will start at number 1 and just go through all of the different bits in sequence. And just to warn you as well, it does take a little bit more fabric than you would expect. So let's put that on there. And almost there. I'm just going to move that down a little bit because I'm normally cut from overhead, not to one side, so I'm just aware that I might not be cutting it accurately enough. There we go. Let's put that one out there. So has anybody else bought the panels? I didn't think they'd sell as quickly as they did. They just went. So plenty, hundreds of them as well. But we do have more being printed as we speak. So we'll have these on the website as soon as we can. 40th anniversary a few days ago. Congratulations, Rose. We've been together, me and Gary, for 40 years, over 40 years now. I've been married for 25, but we've been together for 40. So just chop that off there. There we go. That'll do. I've just got one little bit to trim back. That's not quite cut along the line. Right, and then we'll start at number 1, which is going to be the hat. So I'm going to make his hat out of, sorry if that's a little bit rustly, let me take that all out of the bag. I've got some fabric with stars on it, that'll make a nice hat. So we need to go just this way for the first bit. I'm just going to pop my iron on over here because we're going to need that in a second as well. 51 years and married for 49 in September is Jane. There we go. We'll need to cut a piece of fabric at least 1/4 of an inch bigger than that first shape. This is only what you do for the first one, all right? So let's just cut that. That should be enough. Again, do allow for the fact it takes more fabric than you think. Now we're going to work from the back. So you'll see how bold the lines are there. We're going to work from this side. Now this is deliberate. The numbers are quite pale because if you're using maybe a white in the background, we don't want to see those numbers through to the right side. So that's why the numbers are pale. But the stitch lines are dark because we're going to sew along those, so you're not really going to see them. So let's flip that over. And this is going to go right side up here. I'm just going to press that. That's a little bit creased for me on one side. That'll be my phone on the floor. That'll do. And then I'm using glue stick just to secure that in place. So within that triangle that I can see from the front, just pop a little bit of glue in there. And then that needs to cover the whole of the triangle. I'm being rather generous with this here fabric. Okay. And then let's flip it over. And I'll need to trim this along the seam allowance on the top and bottom. Let's trim that back. And that on. Save all those bits. And then we'll fold along these lines. So first of all, the next one we're going to is number 2, which is here. So we'll need to fold along line number 1. And again, you can see that through. So it's nice and bold. So just crease along that line number 1. And then if you have your 1/4 inch ruler, that's got a lip on it, which you butt up against that fold and then trim. And that will give you a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. So if you don't have a 1/4 inch ruler, get your ruler out and measure 1/4 inch and trim it back that way. This just makes it really easy. So we've got that. So the next one we're going to do is number 2. And my background fabric, I'm going to have a bright blue. So let's cut a piece of fabric. Be generous with this one now, because if you cut it a little bit bigger, you'll find that when you start flipping the fabric over, that we're going to do in a minute, it's not going to be big enough. So when you get used to this, you'll get used to the sizes that you need to cut, and you'll be able to be a bit more frugal with your fabric. But do save any wasted bits. You know, you can do some crumb quilting or smaller foundation piecing with those if you wish. So this time we're not going to cut it yet. We're going to flip this over. You need a straight edge on the second piece and line that up there. Now this is going to flip over, so you can check that you've got enough fabric to cover the rest of that before you actually commit to sewing. This is what I mean about using more fabric than you think, and that it's going to cover. That's going to be fine. So let's line the edge up there, and we'll pop a couple of pins in there. And then over to the sewing machine. Those out of the way. It is handy to have your cutting mat, your sewing machine, and your iron all together, so you're not walking backwards and forwards. So that's from the right side. Let's flip it over to the other side and sew along that line that we creased. So I'm just going to sew down here. Okay. And then take out your pins. Bring in your ironing pad and fold that open and press it. Now with the edge pieces like this one, let's take this. Again, also only just made it on there, you see. Let's trim this back. So this now just trims back to the edge of the panel. So I don't actually need my 1/4 inch ruler with this one. And I've got a lot of spare bits there that I can use for some of the smaller areas. Okay. So my next one is going to be in between number 1 and number 3. But because this is going right up to the edge now, and particularly because that's quite a big piece, I'm going to just use a little bit of glue just to hold that in place around the edge, so it's not flapping around when I'm using it. Let's stick that down. Right, and then we're going to go in between 1 and 3, so let's fold that back and crease it. Put my ruler up against here and cut that bit. And then my next piece is going to be a background piece here. So I'm going for the blue again. The bits that I've just cut off aren't quite big enough for that one because these are quite big pieces. So let's just cut some more off here. And then we'll move on to the face. And I think you'll get the gist of it after that. Okay. So pop that to one side. So it's quite formulaic really once you get going. So this time we need those two pieces right sides together. And let's just flip that over and make sure there's enough to cover there. That was a rather big piece. Plenty on that one. So let's line those two up. A couple of pins again just to hold that in place. It's so easy. And remember, you're going to leave the fabric in there. You're not going to tear it away or anything. So you've got a bit of stabilizer behind your work as well. So let's flip this over to the other side and sew along that line. Like that. Pins come out. Irons back. Fold that over. And give it a press. And that's the top piece finished. Well, obviously we need to trim that. So you go there. You go there. So if you wanted to get yourself a little prim mini iron, it's really handy because I haven't actually stood up or left my seat yet while I've just been doing this. So this is again trimmed to the edge. And like so. And that's my top panel done. And just like I did on this side, because it's a big piece and it can flap around a little bit, just going to secure that with a little bit of glue. Like that. And then we can put that bit to one side. So if I just reach over and bring you the actual gnome, that's the top strip across there that we've just done. I stuck a pom-pom on his hat when I'd finished, so you can decorate it if you wanted to. If you're, oops, sorry, I'm sliding around everywhere. If you're going to, or you want to decorate around the hat or anything like that, I would recommend maybe, because you could put some faux fur around there, adding it afterwards, but it might be quite nice to add that as you're sewing so that the bits go into the seam as well. And if you want to put a little bit of fluff on top of there, maybe hand sew that on for his beard, then of course you can do that as well. So that's the top panel. We'll put that to one side and then we'll have a go at the second one, which would be the strip with his moustache and his nose on. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Sarah. Samantha's got hearts and stars to do, but always scared me a little. Now I'm going to get them out. There's nothing scary about this. And the thing is, with it being fabric that you leave in, if you make a mistake, you can unpick it. It's not like you're going to tear the paper or you'll have to, reprint it and start all over again. It's really, really simple like that. So we've done 1, 2, and 3 across the top. So the next one is going to be number 4. Because number 4 is the first piece on this panel, we're going to do the same as we did on number 1. So this little chap is going to have a pink nose. So I need to cut a piece of fabric. I've got the selvage on that, so I'll make it a little bit bigger. At least 1/4 of an inch bigger than that number 4. Loads there. So let's turn it over because we always put the fabric on the other side. And a little bit of glue just around the inside there. Place that over the top. Turn it back to the right side. Now my next line is going to be here, but while we're here, we can trim back all of the other sides as well. So let's take that off the top. And then my next line is going to be number 5. So where that line is there, fold it back, pop your ruler up against it, trim that off. And I can go around to number 6 while I'm here as well, may as well. So just fold along the line and trim. Just got a little bit on the end there to trim away as well. Remember, the fabric needs to go all the way to the edge of the seam allowance. So when these pieces are sewn together, you'll sew along these inside lines. And what else have we got? Let's do number 8 while we're here as well. So we can just trim all around his nose. So he ends up with one piece of fabric, which is 1/4 of an inch bigger than the shape that's printed on your panel. There we go. Oops, didn't quite cut through. So there's the nose. So let's go to number 5, which is his moustache. Remember, you've got your diagrams on here, so you can just keep referring back to which bit you're doing. So if you're looking at that now and you think, I can't remember what it was, this is the white bit for his moustache. So let's do, need a couple of pieces of white fabric. So, oh, sounds like somebody's laid an egg. And again, bigger than you think you're going to need. That's enough for both of them. Back to this side, and then these two edges need to go together and fold back enough to cover there. That'll be fine. With 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So that, don't be skimpy with this fabric. So we hold that with a pin. Flip it over because we sew from the darker side, and we're just going to sew along the line in between number 4 and number 5. So let's pop that down there. It doesn't matter if you go over the outside seam allowance with your stitches, and you can backstitch. You wouldn't do that if you were using paper for this. Okay, and then we'll take the pin out, back to the iron, flip that over, press, and then back over to the dark side. So in between 4 and 5 I'm working on now. So I can trim that to the edge of the seam allowance. And then we'll need to trim, whoops, 4, 5. I can trim this while I'm here. I could go on to number 6 straight away, but while I've got my ruler out, number 7's next, and I will have to trim that. So let's fold against the edge of number 5. Can you hear that chicken? We're getting so many eggs at the moment, you wouldn't believe it. I think everybody's laying. So that goes there, like that. And that's what we've got from the right side. So next up is going to be this one. Now where the angles are like this, it's always worth, because if I do that and I think, oh, that's going to cover that quite nicely, then I fold that back, it's not anywhere near what I need to cover that. So this is where I'm saying just be generous with your fabric. Allow for when you fold that it might not quite reach the edge of the seam allowance. So that's why you need these bigger pieces for it. Pin in there, flip it back, and sew along the line along number 6. You know, once you've done one of these, you're going to find them really easy to do. Okay, let's pop that down there. And so, take it out. Thank you very much, Chris. He's given me a thumbs up, and he's ordered his bunting template. Yeah, those large bunting templates, we're not going to get any more of those. Because they would normally be quite expensive. Pop that on there. I mean, when we sell out, if you really want one, we can have them made. But they'll be I think they're £25. Right, so I'm going to fold along that line 6 and 8. and trim up to the edge there. So there, we've got a nose and a moustache. That's white on white. You might not be able to see that too clearly, but that's his moustache there, look, as you can see. You could use fleece for the beard, absolutely, Christy. I think that would be really nice. I wouldn't use anything hairy. Maybe stick that on afterwards if you wanted to, because you wouldn't be able to see where you're sewing with it. But yeah, fleece would work really well for the beard and the moustache. Right, where are we? Bobbin's fine, thank you, Leanna. Hi, Moisa. Greeting from the new look room. Yeah, it's not going to stay like this, Moisa. If you just joined, as I was explaining earlier, this is a set that we've had built to make a Roman blind against. The windows in our house, because we live in a 200-year-old cottage, are about 3 foot deep, so there's no. I can't actually get in there to demonstrate how to make it. And if it's not those windows, we've got big, what do they call? Like patio door windows all over the place. So they're just too big for a Roman blind. So if you're making a Roman blind, I've got to build a window. So that's what Jackie, that's what Gary's done for me. Thank you, Sarah. The bird would look cute with long hair fleece. It would, Samantha, but I think you'd have difficulty sewing it in. You wouldn't see where you were going, but you could stick it on afterwards or hand sew it on afterwards if you like. May just miss the actual live. We're still actually live, May. We're still here. Sunny in Tonsberg in Norway. Tonsberg, sorry. 30 degrees Celsius, and we are not used to hot weather. We're having to get used to hot weather, I think, Solveig here, from what I'm hearing. I can't find your lightweight interfacing on the website. We haven't got it on the website yet, Yvonne. We'll hopefully get some in next week, but Sewing Street bought the lot, so they had everything, I'm afraid. The best scissors twin set back. Yes, Alana, I thought they'd be here by now, but they're on order, so shouldn't be too long. No, I didn't make it, Sarah. Seems quite complicated. It's once you get going, Robbie, it's not at all. It looks complicated, particularly, the snowman that's got all of the little pieces. But all you're doing is cutting out the shape and trimming it back to a seam allowance. So it comes together actually quite quickly, and it's really not complicated. It's just getting in the flow. So try the easy one first. Try the tree first, and then leave these two till a bit later on. Not because they're more complicated, but because the pieces can be a little bit smaller. Now I'm going to go back to my template again. These triangles here are the sides of his hat. So I need that red star fabric again, because that's going to go on there and that's going to go there. So his hat's going to come down over these corners. And then the very end pieces are the blue background again. So we need some little bits of red, which I've got left over from before. So that's going to go right sides together there. That's enough to cover it. And pin. Flip it back, and we're going to sew along this line. So I'll just go over here and do that. I think we've seen a close-up of doing this enough times. It's not quite matched. So just matching up a straight edge to the previous fabric. That's it. And sew along there. And let's take that off. Fold it back. I'm going to press it. You could just finger crease it, but I like to press it. Everything's here anyway, right next to me, so I may as well just do that. And like that. Flip it over. And then we'll need to trim all around box 7. So that line there we're going to fold back and trim with 1/4 of an inch. So the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance is always up against a black line. And then that's the edge of the panel. So we'll just trim that back up to the edge. There's one side of his hat, so that's going to go there. And then this goes on the other side. Pop a pin in there. Hi, Leslie. And like that. Oh, Marie, that sounds painful. Cut a finger with a rotary cutter, and they can be very sharp. Right. Take out the pin. So I'm getting a little bit faster now because I think you'll be getting the gist of it. And I just want to get this one piece finished. Let's fold that back there. Quick press. Like that. Flip it back again. So this time I've covered number 8, so I'm going to trim around number 8. So let's take the edge off here. That's a black line, so I'm folding along it. That there. There. And trim that. So I've got that, which will go there. Then I've just got 2 more pieces to put on the ends here. Oh, I didn't trim that quite along the right line. That's better. It doesn't really matter because I'm sewing along the right line anyway. So now I need my bright blue again. So that should be enough to cover there. So line that up against the edge of the red fabric. Pin. And then flip it back over. We're going to sew along the black line. I'm just going to take that pin out because I was going to hit it. Like that. And fold it back. I've got a rather long piece of fabric here. Although I'm using what seems to be big pieces of fabric, I find it more cost effective to just keep, and instead of cutting out a piece that's a little bit bigger, just to keep using my big pieces of fabric. But if you wanted to cut those smaller pieces to start with, then of course that would be fine as well. Just got a crease in my panel there. And then this time there's nothing else happening at the end of this one, so I'm going to trim up to the edge of the panel. So I'll just put one more piece on, and I think if I haven't bored you enough already, you've got the gist of it anyway. So that's the end piece again. That's that way up. And because it's the end piece like I did before, I just like to stick it down to hold it in place. And then we'll need to do one more piece on that side, and then that'll be that. Granddaughters. Oh, lovely. Have a nice time with your granddaughters, Kaz. So that goes up against there. And there's my pin. Pin in there. Flip it over. Sew down there. And sew along the line. But any of the panels, I can't remember who it was that was saying you had the stars and hearts, all work in the same way. The only difference here is that you're working in rows, and then you'll sew the rows together at the end. But just remember, the first piece that you're going to work on is the one that you cut out and stick down, and the rest of them are all stitched and flipped. Just around the edge here, because there's nothing else to sew on this, so we're trimming this back to the seam allowance. And there. And because it's the end bit, I'm just going to glue that down. So those are my 2 pieces. Whoops, where's my other piece gone? Those are my 2 pieces, she says, and she can't find the piece. What have I done with that then? How can I lose that? Oh, there it is. There. So now these 2 pieces need to be sewn together. So flip it over. And what I like to do with this, and because sometimes when you're putting these together, it doesn't look like they're going to match. I want to make sure that that line matches up with that line. So I'm going to put a pin in there right on the joint where they're going to meet. So that goes in there, and I want that to match here. That's not quite right. I mean, it should do. That should just line up. But with some of the other pieces, when you start joining them together, because that seam line's actually a little bit larger than 1/4 of an inch, we just want to make sure that those 2 pieces match up. So I'll have another pin just in there. So just on that one, and then into that one, like so. And then sew down that line. We can start sewing right from the edge this time. Take the pins out as you sew. And just keep matching them up. Like that. And then I like to press these seams open, just so they're not quite so bulky. I'd normally wait until I'd finished all the 4 rows before I sew them together, but I just wanted to show you how that's going to work. Like that. So then I've got that. That's not an exact perfect match. It moved a little bit when I was sewing. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. No one's going to notice that. And then we've got the next row. I'm not going to do any more because I think I've had enough now. That is trimming back. So that's going to go on there. And again, look back to the instructions, because that centre bit is going to be his beard. So that's going to be white. And then these 2 side bits are the body. So those 2 will be blue and green, and the edge bits will be blue. And then the bottom is in 2 pieces. So smaller numbers, you'll start on the left-hand side, and it'll go together like that. So these are his boots, and then these bits are his jacket, and the 2 edge bits are going to be the blue background. So again, because the number 11 is the lowest number, that's the one that you're going to start at, stick that down, and then you'll stitch and flip everything up against that. And then 17 will be the first one stuck down here, and then stitch and flip it, and 22 you're going to start on that one. And then that's what you're going to have when you've finished it. Your instructions will include how to make these up into gift bags. But if you wanted to use that panel to make placemats or join them all together and make a table runner, then of course you can do that instead if you wish. Will your chatters get to post their project out here somewhere so us subscribers can see? Not on YouTube. Is it May or W May? W May L. I'll use your full name. You won't be able to put pictures on YouTube. If you join our Facebook group, which is Debbie Shaw Sewing Shop, then you can post pictures on there. Oh yes, Gina, thank you. If you are a Half Yard Club member, remember you get a 10% discount on anything that you order from the website as well. These are on pre-order, though, remember, because Sewing Street just bought the lot and sold the lot. But as soon as we get them in, they won't take very long to come in. As soon as they come in, then we'll put them back on the website again. So in this set, there are 4. There's the snowman, there's the gnome, there's the star, and you've got the Christmas tree there as well. So I hope you like that. And I hope that's kind of demystified the piecing process. Again, with it being fabric, you leave that in. So it does act as a bit of a stabilizer as well. So on the gift bags, I didn't use any other interfacing on the front. I did use some of our lightweight interfacing on the back, which again, we should be getting back in or back on the website, or on the website, not back on that website. It's not there yet. Hopefully towards the end of the week when we can get more of that manufactured. Marie loves some more. Thank you. Right, so that's that. So I hope you liked it. Right, I'm going to get off. I'm hopefully, if the weather's not too bad, going to be making a Roman blind for said window behind me in a second. You can quilt it along, absolutely. You may want to put some wadding behind it then. Maybe some H20 at the back of it would be nice. And oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, so I'm going to see you again on, what day are we today? On Wednesday. Wednesday? What date is it on Wednesday? This month's going so quickly. Oh, I just wanted to mention as well, or ask you if you're going to Festival of Quilts. I'm only going for the one day. I should be there all day long on the Friday, on the 1st of August, and I'm going to be on the Sewing Street stand. I was told by Janet Clare yesterday I'm going to be interviewing her. I didn't know that. So that's quite interesting. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'll be there anyway on the Sewing Street stand on the 1st of February. So do come over and say hello if you're there. I don't know who else is going to be there, but obviously Janet Clare is going to be there. Yeah, I shall see you tomorrow, Chrissy and Alana, for the workshop. It's going to be a quiet one. I've had a couple of people back out, so going to have plenty of room. Might have some news about the next one in August as well, because that's getting quite exciting. All right, then. Well, thank you for your time today. And you enjoy your weather no matter what it's like, and rain is a good excuse for sewing, isn't it? And I shall see you again soon. Bye-bye.